Well, just as it looked as if Newcastle United fans had something to look forward to in the summer with big spending a possibility with the luxury tax coming in, it looks like it's going to be swept away just as quick as it was swept in. Sky Sports Premier League have sent a tweet out this morning saying that the Premier League still intend to use a hefty points deduction system for breaking FFP rules. So we'll take another look at that. Also, Jose Enrique has been speaking this morning about how Newcastle United should cash in on Alexander Isak and Bruno. Fabrizio Romano has said in an interview this morning that it looks like he still might be leaving Newcastle United in the summer. So not the greatest of news this morning, guys, but let's take a look at it all. Thank you very much for watching the video. My name's Paul. Thank you for watching the Toon review as well. If you are new to the channel and you like what you see, please do hit that subscribe button. We are well on the way to 29,000 subscribers now, and with your help, we could get there sooner rather than later. But don't forget to hit the notification bell, which will also let you know when we schedule our live shows or we upload any videos such as this one. So thank you very much in advance for that. And don't forget, please, guys, if you do enjoy the video today, to hit the like button, as that is very, very important in the YouTube algorithm world. But let's crack on, and we'll start, obviously, with the non-starter for the luxury tax. Now, as I said, Sky Sports Premier League sent out a tweet earlier today saying that the clubs will still be given a significant points deduction for overspending. Now, this is... I mean, look, for me, they've got to do something about this FFP because it's ruining football. It's spoiling people's enjoyment of the game, and it's also stopping other clubs bringing in these huge names from across the world of football. We've talked about this before, how it may, the Premier League may suffer in the future because of it. Because of clubs being unable to bring in these star players, and they will go to other leagues, and suddenly the Premier League won't be the highlight or the big thing that it used to be. That will be taken away from everybody. Now, apparently, it says this tweet gets me confused, because when we heard about the news about this luxury tax, we were informed that a lot of clubs, so I think it was 17 out of the 20, were all in favour of voting for this to go through. The vote was supposed to take place in June. Now, according to Sky, they now say that the majority of the clubs, including the Premier League themselves, see this as a complete non-starter. Now, if that's the case, why was it reported that 17 out of the 20 Premier League clubs wanted to do this? You've got to ask serious questions here of what's going on behind the scenes, who's saying things about what, and which clubs are having a majority of say on this. I have a feeling I know who those clubs are. I don't think any of you guys will have any problems working out who those clubs are either. Because let's be honest, we know there's a cartel in the Premier League. That ain't going to go away in a big hurry, guys. It's still there, it's still around, and it's still a major problem. The Premier League are set to use the UEFA rules, which indicates that clubs that play in Europe will be allowed to use 70% of their revenue to bring in new players. Now, at present, that currently stands at 90%, but will be changed to 70%. So, although they won't be able to spend, the majority of that income on players, 70% is still a lot. But you have to be playing in Europe to be able to spend that 70% revenue on players. So what's been reported is it's basically the Premier League still looking after their golden teams. And, it's very, very hard to argue with that. It's very difficult to argue with that right now. You see some good news happening about luxury tax over the weekend and at the beginning of the week, and then all of a sudden that is swept away because the majority of teams suddenly don't want it. That's very confusing to me, because the way they put out the luxury tax, it was going to look after a lot of teams in the Premier League who aren't the cartel clubs, and we all know who they are. But suddenly now, a couple of days later, it's all swept under the carpet and said the majority of the clubs don't want it. Come on. We as football fans are not stupid. We've seen all this going on in the Premier League for a long, long time, and things look like they're not going to change with the scrappage of the luxury tax vote. Now, that isn't definite. This is just what Sky Sports Premier League have put out, that it's not going to happen. But let's be honest, Sky Sports themselves like looking after the cartel clubs as well, don't they? So it's no surprise to me that is being reported by Sky first before anybody else. So Sky have obviously got wind of this from somewhere. So it looks like the luxury tax vote is going to be abolished. and we continue with these disgraceful FFP rules, which look after the select few, shall we say, at the top of the league. It's absolutely just disgusting, man. It's ruining football. It's ruining the Premier League. Other teams are struggling to get quality of players in. Clubs are struggling with money. Yet we see the cartel clubs, some of them in so much debt, by the way, yet they're still okay to move on. It's an absolute farce, guys. But let me know what you think in the comments, because I'm disgusted by it. I'm disappointed. I was looking forward to a really, really strong summer with Newcastle United and very exciting summer. But it looks like it's all going to be abolished before it's even got started. Now, some very interesting quotes from former Newcastle United left-back Jose Enrique in a latest interview. He has suggested that Newcastle United cash in on Alexander Isak. Now, the reason for that is he's not saying he's a bad player by any stretch of the imagination, but he's saying that Newcastle can't trust his fitness, which is very interesting, actually, because he goes on to say in the interview that even when he was playing in Sociedad, the big teams in Spain wouldn't look at him because they didn't think he would stay fit long enough. And certainly stay fit for the majority of the season. Now, we haven't heard that before, and that's an interesting comment. Obviously, Enrique, being Spanish, he's privy to a lot of the Spanish press as well, but saying that, he wasn't expected to go to a big team in Spain because of his injury record. Now, yes, he did have problems in Sociedad, there's no doubt about that, and he's had problems since he's been here. But at the moment, he's currently averaging a goal every 2 games when he's fit. And, for me, that's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. We keep saying that we still expect to see another gear from Alexander Isak. Now, where that other gear comes, I don't know. But he's still very young as well. Let's not forget that. He's not as old as what, Callum Wilson is, who is just injured all the time. And I think that's interesting because he went on to mention Callum Wilson later on in the interview, saying that Newcastle United have got a serious issue with their strikers and having the faith in them to stay fit. Now, he didn't say whether they would stay fit or not. He says, do the club have faith that they will stay fit? And if we're honest, guys, I mean, this is very interesting for me because do I have the faith that Isak will stay fit or Wilson will stay fit on what's happened this season and previous with Callum Wilson? No, I don't. Which is why I think Newcastle need to go out in the summer and get themselves another striker in. We all know this, for cover, because we've been left stranded a couple of times this season where we've had no striker fit. And it's a very interesting question that Enrique puts out there. I'm not saying that we should do this, by the way. I'm just going on what Enrique said in his interview. He says that Newcastle United could make a lot of money on Alexander Isak, cash in on him, and use that money to bring in a couple of other players who have good fitness records and good injury records. It's not a bad thing to say. But I don't want to lose Isak. I think he's absolute quality. And I love watching Isak play football. He's on a really good run at the minute. Yes, the last game against Fulham, he wasn't too good. However, if the goal scoring record about 1 in 2 games, if we can keep him fit, and I think we can keep him fit if we've got another striker who is also able to stay fit and rotate them. Rotation is a big thing in the Premier League these days, and I have no doubt that if we can rotate Isak with another striker, he will stay fit. It's very difficult for one striker to play every single game, every season. It doesn't happen in this day and age, not at all. Doesn't happen. There's too many games, and the way the pace that the game is played with at the minute, it's just a non-starter to expect your striker to be on that pitch every minute of every game. Callum Wilson, I think, will leave in the summer. I'm pretty sure he will, actually. Is that a bad thing? No, I don't think it is. I think he's done remarkably well since he's been at Newcastle United. But I think his time has come. I think his body is starting to tell him enough's enough. Certainly muscular-wise. Little things happening every, 4 to 5 weeks that he's fit, and then he's off for another 4 to 5 weeks on the injury list. So for me, I think Callum will leave. But Isak, I just think we need to keep him. I think if we've got an Isak and another striker, possibly another 2 strikers, just to provide cover, then we've got a hell of a chance of doing well and keeping Isak fit and in the goals constantly. I think Isak is undoubtedly a 20-goal-a-season striker, providing he gets the rotation and he keeps fit. But it's an interesting conversation, and Enrique is not just saying this because he thinks Newcastle should sell him. He makes a good point. Let's be honest, he has been injured a lot. Can we keep the faith in these two strikers at the minute? No, we can't. Well, that's my opinion anyway, but let me know what you think in the comments. And finally, the age-old question of, will Bruno be a Newcastle United player next season? Nobody knows. Let's be honest. Nobody knows. If you're asking me personally as a fan, yes, I do think he'll be here next season. I think he wants to build something at this football club. But the fact that this luxury tax may be scrapped, I think that's going to be a big decision in Bruno's whereabouts next season if we don't get into Europe. I do believe that Bruno's had a chat with Joe Linton. I think that, the two of them will have talked certainly about Joe Linton's new contract and the fact that where they want the club to be. And I think we can build a really strong side around our midfield next season. The likes of Tonali, Willock, Joe Linton, Bruno. I think Bruno's aware of this. I really do. And, we're always... Listen, the fact of the matter is, when you have a quality player like Bruno in your side, he is always going to be linked away, right? I think that's just fact. Until we start winning things and be consistently in the Champions League, etc., players like Bruno will be linked to other clubs. That is just going to be a fact of life that us as Newcastle United fans, I guess we used to already, the amount of times he's been linked away with the club, so that it's not really a surprise. But the thing is, Fabrizio Romano is, come out and said that it all depends, he thinks personally, on the FFP situation. Obviously, with the luxury tax going to be abolished by the looks of it, but he thinks Newcastle won't sell straight away. They think they'll dig their heels in and try and go as long as possible. So he's mentioning sort of July or August for maybe a sale to take place. That's if Newcastle United can find the right players to replace him. It's an interesting thing, that, because I think by sort of August time, Eddie Howe certainly will want his squad in place and ready to go. July is pre-season, isn't it? July, back end of July, the start pre-season. So, I think Eddie will want everything done quite quickly. And if Bruno does want to leave, which I don't think he does, I think, the kissing of the badge at Fulham, the way he celebrated the goal, the things he said since the game, I just think this is always going to be around, guys. And it's just something we've got to get used to as Newcastle United fans. Nobody knows but Bruno himself what he sees in his future. Whether that's Newcastle United, whether it's a move to, the big boys of PSG and Real Madrid and those type of sides. But look, me personally as a fan, I'm used to all this now. I mean, I'm used to Bruno being linked away left, right and centre. But he does say that FFP could be a major factor. And we've seen this in the previous segment there about Jose Enrique saying about Isak. If we make a lot of money on Bruno, it'll enable us to bring in, 2, 3, 4 really quality players. And that's what we have to do in the days of FFP. But we'll see what happens, because obviously the luxury tax thing, it all depends on this for me as to what happens with our players in the future. But there you are. That is the news for today, guys. Please do put comments below what you think of all the segments. Are you happy? Are you happy that Bruno's going to stay? Do you not worry about it? What do you make of Jose Enrique's interview? And of course, the luxury tax. It's turning into a bit of a saga all of a sudden, isn't it? So let me know what you think of all that as well. But thank you so much for watching the video, guys. As I said at the start, if you have enjoyed it, please do give it the thumbs up. Very important we keep those coming in. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, plenty Newcastle United football content on here. Subscribe for free, hit the notification bell, which will let you know when we upload any videos such as this one, or we schedule in our live shows. If you're watching this on the Wednesday, don't forget, tonight at 7 o'clock, we have How Are the Lasses? That is the NUFC women's show with myself and Sam. We'll take a look at Newcastle United women's previous game, which was a couple of weeks ago now, but also the huge build-up to the home game against Huddersfield on Sunday, in which the Lasses can finally secure the championship and promotion. It should be an incredible day at Kingston Park on Sunday, so we'll be previewing that, and we'll also have a look at the England women's performance during the weekend. But thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, guys. Take care.